The Chargers stress continuity with their new defensive coordinator. Surprisingly, the Rams might return their coaching staff, and Dalton Knecht reportedly wants the Lakers to trade him. Good morning. I'm James, and this is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. So it is January 29th, 2026, and once again I am back working in Ann Arbor, Michigan, which sucks. But we're always going to start our day off right by talking about the majesty that is LA sports. And if you like being in the know about LA, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop an update. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. By all means, comment. Now we have a quick look at the scoreboard. Kind of a mixed bag. Starting off with Cleveland 129, Lakers 99, which totally follows the Laker pattern. They never lose close games. Every loss is an ass kicking. Luka Doncic scored 29. UCLA knocked Oregon around pretty good, 73-57. Tyler Bilodeau scored 18 points. Iowa edged USC 73-72. Cam Woods scored 33 for the Trojans in a losing cause. Meanwhile, today the Kings are at Buffalo at 4. So with that said, what do you say we get to the news? The Chargers have hired Chris O'Leary away from Western Michigan to become defensive coordinator. And if you are a Bolts fan, this should come as quite the relief. Quite the relief. Unlike the offensive coordinator search, where Jim Harbaugh talked himself into reinventing the wheel, he pretty much knew he wanted to recreate what Jesse Minter accomplished with the defensive unit before he was hired away by Baltimore. You could totally tell Harbaugh did not want to interrupt a damn good thing with that unit by the way he conducted the search. He interviewed damn near all the assistant coaches as if he was desperately trying to find somebody who, if he squinted, would look like Jesse Minter. It was literally like kind of breaking up with a girl and saying, your sister's kind of hot. Would you mind? So apparently not sold on promoting in-house, Harbaugh then turned to O'Leary, who spent 1 year with the Chargers in 2024, Harbaugh and Minter's first year. O'Leary was coaching the safeties. He was the guy who took Derwin James, who had an off year, and under his guidance completely revived James's career. Moreover, if you recall, during that particular offseason, going into 2024, the Bolts traded for Elijah Molden. O'Leary spent so much one-on-one time with the guy, gave him a crash course, and it was so effective that Molden said he knew the playbook in just 3 days. Now, how would you like that as somebody who's going to take charge? Somebody who can just take anybody and coach them up in 3 days. The lines of communication were that open. And safeties, by the way, are that important to Minter's scheme. Both the former and current Chargers defensive coordinator, they both look at safeties and think from that vantage point at the back line of the defense. They should be able to see if everybody's in position and coach them to where they're supposed to be if they're not. Further, if you take a cursory glance at O'Leary's approach, his philosophy, it literally sounds like the exact same way that Minter ran his defense. Minter, for example, called it obnoxious communication. O'Leary said, I am going to push over communication. What's the bleeping difference, right? And of course, they both want safeties that can help in run support. So I hesitate to describe hires as perfect. But keeping the Chargers defense on the same path is ideal as it gets. If you're a Bolts fan, you ought to be overjoyed at that. Also, the Chargers have hired a new offensive line coach. Butch Berry coached under new offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel when both were with the Dolphins. The upshot is, unlike the defense, which is going to have a lovely bit of continuity, there's drastic change coming on offense. The Chargers are going to switch probably from power and gap blocking to a zone blocking scheme. And zone blocking schemes tend to work with smaller offensive linemen. But if there is an upshot, at least when Barry gets introduced from the looks of the guy, I don't think he's going to pop his collar like McDaniel did. So at least there's that in terms of old school approach. A lot of Chargers news to discuss. Feel free to let me know what you think in the comments thread. Meanwhile, with the Rams, there is a wee little chance. Every year, the Rams coaching staff just gets ravaged by the rest of the NFL year after year. But the wee little chance now is that the big names, well, they might stay. Cleveland hired a head coach yesterday, and it will not be Rams passing game coordinator Nate Scheelhaase. ESPN is speculating that Scheelhaase could still wind up being promoted by the Rams, though. Say Mike LaFleur resigns his offensive coordinator to head to Arizona. Well, hell, you can connect the dots. Scheelhaase gets the OC gig. But the thing is this. LaFleur didn't get offered a contract after holding a second 2-day-long interview with the Cards, according to NFL Network. NFL Network also reported LaFleur, well, they don't know where things fell apart. It's not animosity, apparently, but there was no contract offered. It just went very well, and nobody wants to seal the deal. There are only 2 NFL head coaching jobs open now. LaFleur, Scheelhaase, and defensive coordinator Chris Shula, all of them interviewed for the other opening, which is over in Las Vegas. But there are not reports coming of further Raiders interest. So, either LaFleur goes to Arizona, theoretically, or the band stays together out in LA. Meanwhile, Sean McVay is probably still stewing over a season's worth of blocked kicks, punt returns for touchdowns, not to mention the inability to catch a punt in the playoffs. So the Rams have requested an interview with Cleveland special teams coordinator Bubba Ventrone. A couple of days ago, we discussed how Rui Hachimura saw his very tradable expiring contract, and he deduced that if he wanted to stay in LA, better do what Coach wants with a pie-eating grin. 6-man? Sign me up, JJ. Dalton Knecht is apparently not on board. A report claims he has asked the Lakers to trade him. Now, Knecht is a second-year player. He was known as a shooter when he was coming out of college. And by that, being a shooter, that means I saw the dude play in Summer League, and unlike Bronny James, he didn't need a GPS to find the freaking rim. Point being, Knecht has been out of the rotation for a while. And that is with a Lakers roster that has dealt with a variety of injuries. He couldn't crack any playing time. He's only started once this year. He's averaged less than 5 points per game. Now, I don't know if dude has any trade value at this point. They might even wind up cutting him. And this goes along with what the LA Times is reporting about what the Lakers could do at the trade deadline. According to sources, they told the LA Times if the Lakers do make any moves, it'll be kind of meh. Now, Knecht did have trade value with Charlotte last year, but we all know how that turned out. Since we're on the topic of players who could wind up leaving the Lakers if Austin Reeves declines his contract option, which is expected, and if LeBron James splits, the Lakers will have anywhere from $38 to $47 million in cap space. The LA Times also reported something that we had already deduced on this channel. that all those clickbait rumor stories about the Clippers trading Ivica Zubac, it's not happening. Why? Because the Clippers are no longer 6-21? Could that be a clue? Instead, the Times says that the Clippers are buyers, preferably for a guard who can execute a pick and roll. Now, the Clippers have an even stranger salary cap situation than the Lakers. Not terrible, but strange. James Harden has a partially guaranteed player option. And to be totally frank with you, I've never heard of that before. So, depending on what the Clippers do with Harden, the Clippers could be over the cap. Pardon me. Winter weather. Over the cap, just under the cap, or they could go hardcore and open up $50 million in cap space. It is going to be very hard to sell this guy as a replacement for Ricky Puig, but the Galaxy have added free agent midfielder Eric Thommy on an 18-month contract. The dude spent 3 years with Sporting Kansas City. He scored 19 goals, added 10 assists. He has Bundesliga experience. Look, he's a midfielder. He's not going to be Ricky Puig. If anything, I would assume that the Galaxy are looking at him as somebody who's kind of like a utility player in baseball. We could use him on this side, etc. Hey, if adding Corey Perry to the Kings caused you a case of the dry heaves, well, go and get your favorite puking bucket. There is a report from a Kings blogger claiming general manager Ken Holland reached out to Vancouver about left winger and career malcontent Evander Kane. Maybe they have. Dude has been playing in the NHL since the first Obama administration, and he has been chased out of 5 NHL towns so far in his career. Oh, and by the way, he missed all of last season to undergo multiple surgeries. So, Kane is old, bitter, and slow. Sounds like a Kings player already. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me, for example, about what you think of the Chargers coaching staff, how it's developing, and if you're cool with the Rams more or less standing pat. If you enjoyed this update, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day. Thank you for watching. I'm James, and we'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Cortel Queso production. Take care.